Now we've got Larry Eppard, founder of Title Plant Software, in the studio. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, my pleasure. All right, Larry, give us a background on you so the audience gets to know who you are, and then let's talk about Title Plant Software. What do you do?
All right. So by trade, I'm a technology guy since college. It kind of dates me that my sophomore year in college is when they actually formed the computer science department. And
You're an early adopter.
That's right. And so I've spent my life kind of developing technology in various forms to help businesses succeed.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about what your company does.
So Title Plant Software was formed to we're a software company, and a lot of people look at me funny when I say we're going to help develop title plants. But in essence, it's bringing the county records online, indexed in a way that title companies can research prior ownership to make sure your title's clear.
I mean, believe me, I've been into real estate offices. It's a mountain, and another mountain of paper. So you're plowing through that. I'm sorry, didn't keep going. So
we help our customers. We have a software product that's fully functioning that allows them to fully index as far back as the county will supply, and then they can look up those records to there's a job called abstractor that when you want to buy a house, somebody goes back through the history of all ownership and make sure there's no liens, that the title's clear, and ultimately they issue you a title policy.
Right. That's a lot of human work.
That's right.
And you're saying you're eliminating it.
So the humans at the keyboard now, instead of going through physical files by hand.
Okay. Well, I mean, greatly reducing it.
Yes.
Right.
Larry, this is Ed again. Going forward, we're seeing a tremendous amount of movement in the smart contract area when it comes to titling documents at the county level using the blockchain backbone of Ethereum. What do you see from a change standpoint with regard to how the counties will react to it, or the software coming in that will actually digitally identify these titles and essentially make them non-transferable without, for lack of a better term, some proof of work? Do you see that as something going forward as far as your business is concerned, and how do you guys see yourselves participating?
So we will help the title companies to move into the digital arena, and we're helping one client right now who's in the electronic closing, mobile closing. In Texas in July 1st has authorized mobile closing so that none of the parties. So we're helping them with their software, extend the model so that the notary will be mobile, the consumer can be mobile, and the intent is to leverage some of the handheld technologies to do that in a way that you can identify and be sure that you're dealing with the right person.
Let me jump in there. Is your software unique in your industry sector? Is it something that sets you apart from the competitors that are out there trying to break into this?
I would tell you that we have some. The base package would be no, but we have some add-on modules to do some things like auto bring forward. One of the last things that you can imagine is somebody files a lien against a house at the last minute.
Right.
Today you have to go back and re-research that property right before closing.
What a mess.
Yeah. So we have ways that we automate that process, and we notify them that, hey, a lien just got filed, this couple just filed for divorce, those kind of things, so that the abstractors and attorneys can address that before you close and before the title gets issued.
Talk to me about the evolution here, the changes that you've seen with TPS.
So the main change that we're going through today is we're trying to help our customers become a network of customers. Mm-hmm. So we've developed software, for example, that we're trying to push our clients to use shared resources on the cloud. I've got a fairly extensive background in cloud technology, and I think it's an industry that's ripe to let's get the servers out of your office in the cloud, where title companies can actually share county data across counties and potentially earn more revenue. If I build a title plant for Lubbock, and I've got somebody over here that's built one for Plano, Collin County, to let them integrate and share the software in a seamless way.
So are we moving more into private clouds, a bunch of private clouds, or is it still in the public arena?
No, I think it's still more private cloud. People are very concerned about ownership of data, who has access to my data, how do I protect that with my firewalls and such.
So encryption hasn't come into its own to be able to work within the cloud to be able to cover all these other aspects is what I'm getting.
Not today. I don't think it has.
Okay.
Well, the key to the question was, would you really want the public to have access to that information?
Right.
I think there are professionals there and that's a very precise amount of information. You probably don't want a significant amount of control over who has access to it. Plus, I guess the question that comes up also is the counties that are involved. How much pushback would you get from them being involved in a private cloud where you have access for all interested parties?
The counties don't seem to really. I mean, it's part of their service. I can go to any county and grab the data today, so they don't seem real concerned about that. So we are seeing a push towards the blockchain technology so that I can share appropriate pieces to the appropriate people where it's all pre-approved, and I think a lot of industries are going to head down that path.
Now, we got about a minute and a half. I wanted to talk about the challenges and the trends that you see going forward. We're not going to finish that conversation. We'll pick it up on the other side of the break, but please.
So the biggest challenge is that it's an industry that doesn't invest in technology. And if you've closed on a house in the last 2 months, you know that there's a ton of technology that could improve the process that isn't being invested in. So we see that as being the push.
Okay, so let's break down the types of technologies on the other side of the break, all right?
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of this break with Larry Eppard, founder, Title Plant Software, titleplantsoftware.com. You've been listening to Michael Yorba and Ed Baxter on CEO Money. Segment is brought to you by Lots of Yachts. Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. All right, in studio, Larry Eppard. He is the founder of Title Plant Software. All right, Larry, where we left off, we're talking about challenges moving forward. How do you take the dinosaur system, the movement of the glacier, as you put it earlier on the break, and move from where things have already been so set in stone of how we do it to how everybody's doing it now? Tell me about those challenges and the solutions that you're bringing to the market.
All right. Well, there's really challenges on two fronts that I see. One is governmental regulation challenges of what the government will approve and won't approve, and then there's just pure the challenge of getting people to change what they've been doing for 20 years. You know, I'm happy going to the county office and looking up the records and pulling documents out and copying them on my copier and taking them back to my attorney. And I tend to find that the second challenge is the hardest, changing the way people process. They get used to it. It's a safety net. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to invent a system where
I heard that sigh, by the way.
Yeah, I sigh a lot in my line of work. But we've tried to build software that our customers see the advantage of changing their process. And go ahead.
I was going to ask you, do you think that as we get smarter with our computers, like our phones now are more intuitive? You type in part of a word, and next thing you know, boom, the whole word. Do you think that is really going to be the path forward to be able to help these people that are set in their ways? Because this guy gets paid by the hour or maybe by the pound, if
right.
you will, to move to. Is that the path forward? More intuitive software.
Yes, there's more intuitive software on the front end for putting in searches. So when people are searching for abstracts or subdivisions or people that are buying or selling the property, grantor and grantees, as you can imagine, there's a number of ways to spell names and misspell names, and so there's an easy example of how we can use technology behind the scenes to do multiple searches and potentially use a more AI type approach for intelligent. So if I'm looking for Larry Eppard and I'm trying to find me and I happen to spell it with one P instead of two or an E instead of an A, the technology can help us solve those problems. And at the end of the day, for our customers, it may mean the difference between finding a lien against a property or not finding a lien because the county clerk indexed the property wrong. And so they don't find the lien and they issue title insurance and they end up having to buy the house back because it doesn't have a clean title.
Oh. Ed, any other questions on that one?
Well, that sounds like a train wreck waiting to happen right there. And as we were talking in the break, I talked to you about a company called Valid, which actually creates the digital ID that you can use for this purpose, both for e-government services and other services based on the blockchain, which you mentioned a second ago. Going forward, how do you, as a software engineer and as a person who is an advocate for, quote unquote, more efficient use of information and time, How do you get people to move toward a new paradigm when it comes to doing this particular type of work? I mean, how do you sell them on the idea?
I've always focused my technology on getting the business owners to understand the value proposition, and usually if they can see that they're going to, at the end of the day, make more money, use less staff, and do less training. But you have to have buy-in from the business owner, because the person doing the work doesn't want to change, right? They're happy.
And the penetration of the market, how is that proceeding?
It's going pretty well. We took it slow at first, and we're now out there trying to. There's a group of individuals that are using some software that's currently unsupported. The vendor, like I said, title plants aren't something people are investing in, and from a software point of view, and so we're trying to attack that. And they're still running 2003 servers, for example, and so we're trying to get them off that technology and try to convince them that they're on a technology that if the server goes down, they won't be able to run their business.
What does it take to change? I mean, to move them from, let's say, okay, I see the light, I want to move. What's that process, both in logistics and time, to move them from the old way to the new way?
Well, again, we were talking earlier about how to leverage technology and make the technology work for you. And so what we've done before we went to market is we've pre-built automated interfaces between the older technologies and our software. So we've tried to simplify the process so that we're helping a client right now convert to our software, for example, that has spent a year trying to bring up a new county, and we brought them up in 3 weeks.
Okay.
So it's a significant, and that's money and time to them, and
massive savings.
Yes. So we've pre-built some technology that helps us through that process faster, and then we think we're pretty good at the software industry and how to build matching software. I've been doing that a long time, and how to build a better mousetrap when it comes to matching. And
I'm not an IT guy, but it sounds like there's a lot of customization in what you're doing, because you've mentioned a few things, and it's not one size fits all. I'm not getting that feeling.
No, and we've built the system behind the scenes to be, if you want to think it's a configurable base system. So you start with the base system and you modify configuration settings that ultimately drive the software so that one customer's software package doesn't work like someone's else. And depending, we do that mainly because the data itself it can be rather random from county to county, and so from day one we built software that allows us to configure that for a customer, and then over time, if it changes, they don't have to reconvert and reinstall. We change configuration parameters to do that. Okay,
so the customer's really not seeing anything. You guys are just hustling. It's like the duck on the water.
Yeah,
the feet are moving them. Okay, I get it.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Ed, any other last minute questions before we?
I think you answered most of them. I can't imagine a scenario where I would be looking at fighting that API to get those two systems to talk together. You're a genius.
You are.
Thank you.
All right,
I'll take it.
How do our clients, the people that listen to this show that are interested in either investing or hiring your services, how do they reach out to you?
So the easiest way is to go to our website. You can set up an appointment to see a demo of the software. The phone number's there. We're not big on automated services, so somebody will answer the phone and you'll get to talk to a real human. And and if being technology, you'd think that we'd like all that stuff, but I hate dialing a company and punching buttons to get nowhere.
I got it. Yeah, you still bring in the personal touch. Larry, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Larry Eppard, founder of Title Plant Software, titleplantsoftware.com. We're going to pause for a brief moment and bring on David Williams of PageTrader.com.